We know that it will be Jameis Winston, at least for the next couple of games, as quarterback for the Browns. Former NFL offensive lineman Brian Baldinger, film breakdown on what he saw from Jameis Winston against Saints.
Watch this one here to Cedric Tillman. Like it was just bombs away. One deep shot after another. Didn't connect on all of them. Oh, but they did connect. Like on this one right here. Like Jerry Jeudy coming across the middle right here. Here he is, and Jameis Winston rolling out. And Jerry Jeudy takes this one 89 yards to tie the game up 7-7. It was bombs away. I've watched practically every game this year. I haven't seen any game that looked like this one. Like Jameis, like literally just airing it out. He threw for almost 400 yards. Like, here you go. That shot. One after another. How about to Elijah Moore down the middle right here? Like, they stayed with it. They did a good job of doubling Elijah, but they still took the shot. In fact, they took a lot of shots down the field. In fact, this one ended up in the end zone for a touchdown. Like, these deep shots paid off. There's Elijah on the outside, gets behind the defense. Jameis rolls out, and on the postage stamp, he tagged Elijah Moore right there for a touchdown.
So, Spencer, this is kind of interesting. This is from Jack Duffin. A 3-game sample of the Browns' passing games stretched out over a full season. Most passing yards in a season since 2013. Peyton Manning had that. 3 1,000-yard-plus receivers and a 968-yard tight end. And again, I'm not as caught up in the numbers. What it shows me is the quarterback play was the biggest problem.
Yeah, and I don't remember them taking a lot of deep shots down the field when Deshaun Watson was out there. I also remember when they were taking some or running some deeper routes or trying to sort of spread the field a little bit that way, Deshaun wasn't really throwing to those guys. And, we can point to other problems that existed with this offense. I think that's 100% fair. But you can't possibly watch these 3 games with Jameis Winston. And here's the thing, like people are going to point to that second game and say, we'll see, Jameis had problems too. The offensive line struggled, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, like sure, there's some truth to that. But I also think like Jameis has always been sort of a flawed quarterback. Like we know he's a gunslinger who's going to take some chances. He's going to throw some wild ones that almost get picked off. And he did that both in the Ravens game and again on Sunday against the Saints. Like it's kind of par for the course with him. But at the same time, like the 2 games, the Ravens game and the Saints game, like the offense looked like a completely different entity entirely from what we saw earlier this season. I mean, it was remarkable. I think there have been some positive signs, despite the fact that they still only scored 14 points on Sunday. It would have been more had, obviously, Dustin Hopkins been able to knock home a couple field goals that he missed. But, there's still some problems. They're not perfect, but the difference between Jameis Winston operating without that perfection in front of him and, everything not being 100% clean on every single play, and Deshaun, who it seems like needs everything to be going perfectly for him to function and for the offense to function properly, it's been like night and day. And I think that's maybe one of the more egregious aspects to what we saw from Deshaun early in the season, what we're seeing from Jameis now, and maybe the biggest indictment on his play with the Browns to this point is just how the other guys that have stepped in around him, even Jacoby Brissett that first year when the Browns were kind of trying to like bridge the gap to get to Deshaun, like he had one of his better years of his career playing in Stefanski's offense. We know Joe Flacco did it last year, and they won 11 games. Deshaun contributed to that win total, but they won 11 games with Flacco really tearing it up down the stretch, and I think we're seeing similar stuff from Jameis. So to me, like that's one of the most telling aspects of why this trade has failed. It's been one of the more telling aspects as to why Deshaun can't possibly come back and be the quarterback here next year. Like there's just too much that needs to be perfect for him to play successfully. It hasn't worked. And like there's no bigger indictment than the fact that guys have come in and run the offense more efficiently than him and had more success with the same Browns pieces and parts that he couldn't do anything with.